Paige, I'm gonna tell you something. When you did this video, I am so glad you played that part over and over to really hit it home that James Charles in front of the camera literally says one thing and he does another. Can we remember that I'm sorry video that was so low that we had to turn it up to 600 just to hear it? And of course, people had to download it because, of course, that one went away when its second video came out. When it was like 1:30 in the morning, he said he was by himself, but then you heard a box knock over because somebody else was in the room. He's a liar. He's been a liar for years. This is called James Charles is a Predator, unironically. And it is a rant video by Miss Paige Christie herself. And Paige is not wrong. Paige has been covering James for a long time. So, let's see what she's got to say.
Hey, James Charles, do you remember when you said this?
I have never and would never and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy.
I remember him saying that. I 100% remember him saying that.
Oh, because I do. I do.
Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, girl, I am here dressed in grey because an elephant never forgets. And I've told you since the beginning of time. In fact,
no, she didn't. No, she didn't. She goes, I'm sitting here wearing gray because an elephant never forgets. I know that's right.
Hold up, give me 1 second.
Ah, there it is.
Hi, sisters. I have said since the end of time to never forget about what James Charles did. And the reason I say this is because I believe that over time, because you got to remember all of these shenanigans that's been going on with James.
I got this sped up to 1.25, by the way, just to let you know.
Charles has been going on since about 2018/19. So because of that, I think that everybody has kind of normalized and rationalized James Charles's behavior because it's what is to be expected from him.
Yup, I 100% agree. Yeah, she does look good in this video, doesn't she?
We gotta remember this is the same man with a long list of allegations, including but not limited to straight men and minors.
And that is also, now, wait a minute now, before anybody says, but Deaf Noodles was wrong about, okay, take out the ones that Deaf Noodles was wrong about, and there's still a list. Okay? If you take out the ones that Deaf Noodles didn't notice that it was a joke in the hashtags, or was a blatant lie, take those out, there's still a list. Deaf Noodles, with what he did, muddied the waters.
And some of these minors who came forward with evidence, might I add, with video evidence of James Charles in the nude exposing his buttocks. And they were 14 years old.
And you did it at my birthday dinner.
And y'all glided past it. You said it was okay. Some of you even went over to the boy's social media and called him a liar.
I'm still a minor. I'm still underage. My age is on the internet, okay? If he really wanted to look that deep into it, he could have looked up my age. I told him my age. He knew my age. So that everybody's saying, where's the receipts? I don't have the receipts. I have the receipts wanting to fly.
I believe, okay, I don't know if I'm wrong. I believe this might have been the one that had 14 on his front page or whatever. Like if you clicked on his main page, you saw he was 14 or something like that. I believe his age was out. I believe this is the one that his age was out there.
Find me out though. I have the receipt of all of that.
Where is a 14-year-old gonna find this? I just can't. I can't. And now, in the first week of 2023, James Charles wants me, a mother of two, to sit down and dismiss this one allegation? Because the person who did it had bad intentions. What about all of the other times, James? What about your intentions? Now, I know a lot of you guys have come over to this video because you saw the title of the video and thought, is she serious? Yes, I am. I'm going to say this again, word for word. James Charles is a predator, unironically. Now, when I'm saying predator, I don't want you to think down the lines of grooming. although that could qualify. Basically, a predator qualifies as a person who ruthlessly exploits others. Now, not only do I think that James Charles exploits other people, he exploits himself, he exploits entire systems that are set in place for other people to be able to display their own boundaries.
Yeah, and she goes into it.
He ruthlessly exploits anything it is that he can to get what he wants. And that to me is exactly what predatory means. So in order to explain this to you, I kind of have to explain what happened more recently with James Charles, as well as a little bit of history going down memory lane. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So a couple of days ago on social media, James Charles basically found himself under the fire once again because another straight individual had outed conversations between himself and James Charles, where James Charles essentially outlined the criteria for being his boyfriend slash significant other slash boo thing slash who knows. James Charles, over the ho-ho-ho, decided to act like Santa Claus and write a list and check it twice.
Let's go.
He literally listed his requirements as if it was a job role. So he said, it's a really lucrative role. It's called my boyfriend. Requirements: 6'2", must love escape rooms, horror movies and cuddling, big D, armpit hair, an occasional FaceTime call. The salary is 0, but it's a good job offer, I think. Perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and a huge living in a $10 million house in LA, fun travel opportunities, good head and more.
Now, remember what he said in the beginning that she sewed? Remember what he said in the beginning? That he wouldn't use what he has to get a boyfriend? I saw a video on Twitter of the supposed sister coming out saying her brother was in on this. The video, I guess, was deleted from TikTok. I'm not sure if that's real or not. I don't know.
A lot of people on social media thought, okay, well, this is just James being quirky. There's nothing wrong with what he's done. And besides, I think the guy that James Charles was speaking to was acting a little bit shady. I will agree with the majority that it was definitely opportunistic for this individual to take screenshots and pictures and quote unquote lead James on.
So obviously being that you are straight, I would assume that you don't know a lot about so obviously being that you are straight, I would.
But is it really leading somebody on when we've been to the rodeo before? If you've walked this road before?
That's the whole problem. Why is it James Charles constantly is in situations like this? Constantly in situations like this. This isn't a one-time thing. He is constantly in situations like this. Like, bro, what are you doing? Seriously.
If you've been down the boulevard of broken dreams before? In fact, I don't think it's necessarily leading somebody on. It's somebody consistently finding themselves in the exact same predicament. And a lot of people came to James's defense, and I will address all of that later, but first of all, I want to go directly back to what it is that James said. He said, it's a lucrative role, it's called my boyfriend. Now, when describing something as lucrative, that would imply that there was money to be made from this position, right? Perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and a huge butt, free living in a $10 million house in LA, and fun travel opportunities as well as good head, etc, etc.
You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's...
I can't believe she brought back Toddy Westbrook's video for this. Oh my God.
sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions. You're threatening to ruin them. You're threatening to embarrass them. And you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay.
I have never, and would never, and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy.
What was that last paragraph, though? Oh my God.
James Charles is a predator, unironically. And this is not me trying to give you guys a clickbait title or anything like that. I'm being deadly serious. I am currently at the end of my tether when it comes to James Charles and his antics. I feel as if we have normalized what has been going on with James Charles, so much so that we are now desensitized to anything it is that he does.
And that is 100% true, because now it's gotten to the point with, and I think Deaf Noodles up where he f***ed up at, that really desensitized everybody. And now it's getting to the point where honestly, he keeps getting caught up in shit like this, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's like, dude, there's something wrong when you're constantly getting caught up on something like this. There's something wrong.
Bearing in mind, this man has numerous allegations that follow him, including one of those allegations specifically coming from a minor who was 14 years of age, who had video proof of James Charles posing in front of the mirror with his naked buttock showing. And y'all seem to forget about this, and we're supposed to sit here and cry boo-hoo tears because James Charles got led on. James Charles didn't get led on. He's walked this road before. This is a very, very familiar road. This is nothing new. This is the same stuff, different days.
Yep. She's not wrong. She's not wrong at all.
The same stuff, different days. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for you.
Yep.
I don't. What you are doing, James, is predatory. And you don't have to be a child predator in order to be predatory. You don't have to be a groomer in order to be predatory. Those are stars that you have gotten all by yourself. You are predatory because you want to engage with men who are straight. You want to engage with individuals who do not want to engage back with you. They don't want a relationship with you.
Zero, it's not a minor this time. This time it's a straight man.
You are purposely seeking out individuals who aren't going to fancy you, who will never find you attractive, no matter what it is that you throw at them. James, you have been at this now since 2018. We have been at this doing the same stuff on the internet since 2018, and if you haven't been able to find yourself a man yet, I feel like this is a cautionary tale. The world is telling you that this is not working. And I don't know whether it's just me, but I feel like we are just constantly allowing James to cross so many boundaries again and again and again and again. And I just feel like, God, I'm just gonna say it, James Charles has a true problem with consent. I said it now, it's out there, it's in the universe, and I'm not taking it back. James Charles has a problem with consent. Because it doesn't matter what the situation is, James Charles will constantly push the boundaries over and over and over again.
He does push the boundaries, like when he's on one of those apps and he sets himself up as a woman on that app. You know, he does. He sets himself up, sometimes perfectly, you know.
So let's take a quick trip down memory lane, shall we? James Charles has famously been banned from Tinder for not representing himself correctly. On Tinder, James Charles allegedly put himself down as a woman, as a female, and rumor has it, again, allegedly, that Tinder was receiving so many complaints about James Charles that regardless of whether he had his verified tick next to his name, they decided to remove him from the platform. They have since allowed James Charles to return back to the platform, allegedly, because they now have an area for androgyny, which is where he self-identifies. James Charles also famously got found out for changing his sex on Bumble. This is particularly bad in my humble opinion because Bumble is a platform that is essentially created to protect women. On Bumble, from what I'm told, is the whole dynamic is a woman can reach out to any sex, any gender, and initiate conversation. People can show interest in the said lady, but it is up to the lady in order to initiate conversation. So if it's a girl-on-girl situation, then both ladies can speak to each other. If it is a boy-on-boy situation, both boys can speak to each other. However, if it is a heteronormative situation, then it is only the girl who can make that first step in initiating the conversation. That is there specifically for one reason and one reason only, to protect women from men on the internet, straight men, most predominantly and most specifically. Now again, because James Charles doesn't like rules and doesn't want to follow the boundaries, he self-identified on Bumble as a woman.
Oh?
That's because he could now initiate conversations with whoever it is that he wanted on that platform, allegedly. So now we have two dating websites, two very well-known and very prominent dating websites, where you as an individual who are looking to date, maybe looking to find love, or even just looking to nut and buck, you can set out your boundaries, your parameters, the things it is that you like, the things it is that you dislike, and even though there is like a program, a set program that is put in place for everybody to follow, rules and guidelines for everybody to follow, James Charles, allegedly, likes to go above and beyond those rules.
Because rules don't... James Charles doesn't go by the rules. And I understand it's like, you know, it's a thing, me saying the rules because, you know, whatever. But James Charles literally does not believe rules apply to him. Hence the reason why he goes on those apps and he puts himself down as a woman. And welcome to the chat, Paige Christie. Yes, this is your face. But yeah, God, it's very narcissistic behavior to me, all right? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think it's very narcissistic behavior by James Charles that he does not think the rules apply to him. James Charles, you do not identify as a woman. Then why are you putting yourself as a woman on these dating apps? You know what I'm saying? Come on, dude. The rules are there for a reason.
He likes to not listen to what it is that you actually want and tell you what it is that you want. If you are a straight guy who has set your parameters to a man seeking a woman, you're gonna come across James Charles too. Why? Because your boundaries. Bugger what it is that you want for yourself, bugger what your sexual orientation is, bugger all that. James Charles is now here. And there's something about that just really grinds my gears and gets me so vehemently angry. And I think a part of it is the fact that I am bisexual. Some of you guys might know this, some of you guys may not, and that's fine. I am a bisexual woman and I am in a heteronormative relationship with my husband. However, when I'm like dating and seeing people and all of that kind of stuff, if I was to approach a woman that I found attractive and say, hey, you know, I'd like to take you out sometime, and they said, I'm sorry, I'm not really into girls, that for me is an instantaneous turn off.
Okay, but can we stop and appreciate? I wonder how Paige spits her game. I would love to see Paige spit her game. Just like a little fly on the wall with a camera just so I can watch it. I need to see Paige spit her game. Think about it. I bet you Paige with them big brown eyes of hers just, you know, does her little lashes. Hey girl. I could see it. I could see Paige spitting her game. I'm just saying. Crazy, awkward, and constantly asking for consent. I know that's right.
Regardless of how hot it was that I found the person when I was about to approach, once they set that boundary and let me know that I was not their interest, that I was not what they were looking for, that is an instantaneous turn off for me. Why? Because I, as a woman who may at that time have been seeking a woman, I want the attraction to be reciprocal. I would at least like for you to find my demographic attractive. And every single time I've had this conversation with my fellow bisexual friends or even my lesbian friends, we have this exact same conversation. It's dead, it's a turn off, it's a no.
Yes, because you understand the word no and you understand the term of boundaries. It's amazing how people don't catch themselves in what James Charles always catches himself in because they understand boundaries. James Charles does not understand boundaries or rules because rules don't apply to James Charles. And he keeps getting away with it, and no one is taking him to task anymore. Now, everybody, when something with James Charles come out, they just push it off to the side and go, whatever. It's like, dude, how long is he going to be doing this until somebody finally stands up and says something? Paige says, I'm the worst bisexual. I always like the lead-in girl-on-girl relationship because I'm so tall. I hate the dumb role. Okay, so class, we learned today that from Paige's own mouth, she is a bad bisexual.
I don't know why we have somehow allowed this to become acceptable. It's so acceptable that in fact a content creator by the name of Matt XIV posted, James Charles is by no means a perfect individual, but everything in this thread shows two adults flirting with each other. The desperate reach to say that James is making straight men uncomfortable is just regurgitating the anti-gay stereotypes. And I couldn't believe that this is where we are going with this. the LGBT, are we really serious right now? Is this a person who has done so many different freaking predatory things before this instance? And I am just so baffled by the idea that this is supposed to be like some anti-gay rhetoric for James Charles when he is literally attributing to one of the biggest anti-gay rhetorics out there. One of the most long-standing anti-gay rhetorics out there, which is that gay men want straight men.
Yup, that's true. That is true. That is a very big stigma out there. And the sad thing is when he gets caught up in doing things like this, he's literally perpetuating the stigma that's out there. You know? And it's sad to see because it's not true. You know, gay men don't go foraging through the forest looking for a straight man. They gotta have a straight man. They gotta have it. No, that's not how that works. But he perpetuates that stigma. He really does.
That gay men find straight men so attractive that they cannot keep their hands off them. That straight men should be fearful of the gay man. This is literally what is at the crux of what the beginnings of homophobia was the fact that straight men, straight heterosexuals were terrified of the idea that gay men would want them, and the reality is the gay men, they just don't. They don't. So now we have this individual.
I know that's right, Grayson. Grayson's like, trust me, baby, we don't want straight men. I know that's right, Grayson. I know that's right.
This individual who consistently, constantly attempts to engage in a sexual relationship with straight men over and over and over again, and y'all ain't calling him out because he was led on down the same road he's been going on for the past for the past 5 years? Nobody's leading him on. Nobody's leading James on. And the part that gets me even more annoyed with this situation is that there are things out there for you. When you are speaking to a straight man, a straight person, a person who identifies as heterosexual, and you are writing out the pros of being James Charles's boyfriend like it's a goddamn job, when you're outlining your personal assets and things it is that you have earned in your lifetime, rather than the person that you are, that tells me everything it is that I need to know. Either James Charles is tremendously terrible at dating and should really, really, really get some help, or the other thing is that he's just not looking for a long-term relationship. He's not looking for what I've seen a lot of people say on social media, his Nate. He's looking for an F-buddy, somebody to screw around with, essentially. And if he wants to do that, there's websites like
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. If he just wants a buddy, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with wanting to have, you know, a friend. Okay, listen. Where I'm from, there's two terms for friend. There's a friend, and then there's a friend. All right? James Charles may be looking for a friend. And a friend is the person that comes over, y'all do your thing, and they leave. There is nothing wrong with that. He's young. There is nothing wrong with that. He doesn't have to be out there looking for a relationship. But dude, setting yourself up as a woman on dating apps is not the way to do it. And continuously getting caught up being, I don't know, where that one 14-year-old you swear you thought he wasn't 14, or that straight man you swear you didn't think he was straight. You are always getting caught up in this. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Rough, there's websites like Grindr. If you are looking for a person whose proximity is closer to masculinity than femininity, there are gay guys who fit that parameter too. If you are looking for somebody that you can fund, considering that you said it was a lucrative role, there are websites like Seeking Arrangements. If you want to have that sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, there is a place for you.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, get yours in. You know, consensually, of course. Hello. But yeah, I mean, get it in, do what you gotta do, but you don't have to go where you're going, James Charles. What the hell?
Hell, there's even celebrity dating websites and dating companies that can put you together with other influencers, other people of interest, other people with notoriety that you might be able to click with who understand your world.
And you know what? Honestly, I think that's what James Charles needs to do. I think he needs, because he's got the money for it, I think he needs to go to one of those people who hook up celebrities you know, and they, you know, I guess they fill out a form, whatever, they get to know the celebrity, and they hook them up with other people. I think that's what James Charles needs to do at this point, because he is not doing a very good job on his own. I'm just saying. He does not do a good job on his own, so he obviously needs some help from a supervising adult. Because at this point, he's fucking up. And he has been fucking up for years.
But no, regardless of how many numerous options there are available for very, very rich James Charles $10 million condo, he still chooses social media as the medium of which to find a significant other. Because even when he does use the dating websites, he don't even follow their rules or follow what other people's boundaries are anyway. And he likely gets kicked off. But no, he uses social media. He uses TikTok. He uses Snapchat. He uses Instagram. And that's because, predatory point number 2, James Charles likes to be able to use his celebrity, his assets, his fame in order to get what he wants.
Yep.
Despite speaking specifically about this in his No More Lies video and saying that he would never do this.
That being said, I have never, and would never, and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy.
So
Paige, I'm gonna tell you something. When you did this video, I am so glad you played that part over and over to really hit it home that James Charles in front of the camera literally says one thing and he does another. Can we remember that I'm sorry video that was so low that we had to turn it up to 600 just to hear it? And of course, people had to download it because, of course, that one went away when his second video came out. When it was like 1:30 in the morning, he said he was by himself, but then you heard a box knock over because somebody else was in the room. He's a liar. He's been a liar for years. I used to be part of the T community. Believe me, I know. James Charles has been a liar for years. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Somebody on God's green earth, explain to me what perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and a huge ass, free living in a 10 million...
Okay, I have to give it James Charles, though. His ass does look really good after that surgery. He got a nice ass on him now, and I'm kind of jealous of his ass, because I don't have ass, and I wish I had that ass, because that was a really good surgery. Just saying. Look, I gotta give props, all right? I gotta give props for that BBL he got. I'm just saying.
$1 million house in LA, travel opportunities, and more. What was described as a lucrative opportunity. But my question is how long are we going to allow this to go on? Yeah. James Charles has been going through this exact same circular motion for the past 4 to 5 years. And absolutely nothing has changed besides James Charles's haircut. He exhibits the same behavior now as he did when he made his taking accountability video, which is now deleted, as he did when he made his No More Lies video. The allegations are the same. They are consistent and they remain the same. And he still keeps putting himself in that position to be led on down the exact same road that we have all seen before. In fact, I know that person's house over there. And that's why for the last year, I've had this photo on my wall. And it says, don't forget about what James Charles did. And I never forgot. I never forgot. But it seems like a lot of y'all out there, y'all truly forgot about what James Charles has done and has consistently been doing for the past 4 to 5 years.
Period. She's not wrong. She's not wrong in this video, dude. Oh God, look, I'm gonna be honest. All this is going to pile up and pile up and pile up. And you know what? All those apology videos that James Charles have deleted, guess what? People have them downloaded, okay? I mean, I know people who have them. I have the one that's quiet downloaded. People have them re-uploaded. They're still out there. What's going to happen, and this is my Nostradamus moment, okay? I'm going to have a Nostradamus moment, all right? No moment, all right? James Charles, if he keeps doing what he's doing, because he's been doing it for what, 4 or 5 years now? If James Charles keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to get caught up in some really bad. And then all this is going to flood and come up. All of this is going to flood and come up. And, yeah. Then we will really remind James Charles on what he said. Just saying. Because he is not, with every single time he gets caught up, he turns around and says, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that anymore. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that anymore. This, that, and the other. This, that, and the other. And it never changes. It never changes. So he's going to get caught up one day. And it's going to look really bad. And then everything else is going to flood on top of him. And that is why I love this video. And I 1001% agree with Miss Paige Christie. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was my take.